Hey there, this is Zuri with Talk Yarny to Me. I'm laughing because I was just talking for a good 15 minutes, not realizing that my camera was still on photo mode and all I had done was taking a selfie. Um, so, let's start all over and try to remember what I said. Today is Thursday, July 11th. So it's a week after 4th of July. I don't think I talked to you guys after 4th of July. So quick recap. All we really did was go to my in-laws' house and have some hot dogs and hamburgers with them and the kids. Came back home, just relaxed for a while. It's very hot. And then, so my husband, he's a combat veteran, so he's not into fireworks really. But I took my kids around to the American Legion, which is like right around the corner from my house, and they did a little fireworks show. And we did that. The teenagers my son liked it. He was taking some video. My stepson, my 13-year-old stepson, he looked a little bored. But he looks, sometimes when he looks like the most bored is when you find out like when he had the most fun. So he's hard to read. And then the little one, I guess he liked it. But he also was like eyeing the kids that were tossing the football nearby and wanting to run off and play with them. So he was a little torn. But we did that, came back home. That was it for 4th of July, nothing big. And then, but Saturday we took them to the water park, which was great because because now they're so old, the two 13-year-olds and a 9-year-old, like they can pretty much entertain themselves. Like we went around a few times on like the lazy river thing, and my husband did the water slide with them a few times, but other than that, like after I wasn't really interested in doing the water slide. It's a long line in the hot sun for 2 seconds, and I'm not like, I was like, that's quite all right. But they did that. We went around and kind of like lounged out on the lazy river, and then by the time I got out, I could just go sit under like the umbrella thing that we rented with my crocheting, and spent the rest of my day doing that. I did get back in like a couple of times, like just to spend some more time with them, but actually the time I went back in, I couldn't even find them. So I just went around a couple of times. I don't think I ever found them again, like while we were in there. And then like my husband, because we had like, once you get your wristband, you can just go in and out as you please. And they had like a whole day there. They had like, they were planning to do fireworks that night too, but we didn't stay that long. We went early. But my husband like went out around lunchtime and got some pizzas from this really good place not far from there. We came back, we ate those in the parking lot, and then we went back in. So by the time the day was over, we were like getting tired, we were full, no one really needed to eat, and we just came back and I think probably watched a movie. Did we even do that? Yeah, we watched a movie. I don't remember what we watched. Oh, we watched Ace Ventura, which I was like, that might be a little much. And my husband was like, I watched it when I was their age, and I was like, so did I, and I remember loving it. But man, as soon as we put that thing on, I was regretting it. I was like, there is a lot of stuff in here that I should probably not have been watching at 13, and definitely not at 9, which is what our youngest was. So regret that a little bit. Not the best choice, but either way, and it's not as funny as I remember. I remember it being the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life when I was like in the 90s when it came out. Like of the whole like Jim Carrey era of movies, that was my favorite, and it remains my favorite. But man, it was not as funny as I remember it, which is crazy. It's funny how things like just don't age or just are not, it's your taste change and stuff like that. So who would have thought 30 years later, it's not that funny. Anyway, that was my weekend. What I was working on at the park was my baby blanket. I think I put a little short up about it, which I ended up frogging. I think I put a picture up about that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But first, like, let me go through, I'll remind you guys of what I've been doing. So my last handful of baby blankets, these ones are going to be mailed off. This one's going to my friend in Philadelphia. It is just your standard corner to corner, knit corner to corner. So made with like the last of my Bernat Forever Fleece Finer that I just happened to stumble upon as soon as they were discontinuing it. That's the yellow and the white, and then the orange here that turns it into a little candy corn looking thing. My orange here, that is some Big Twist Classic yarn that I had laying around. So there's that. And then there was this one. Yes. This is the Abigail blanket by Bonnie Bay Crochet. I wanted to try like one of those really like intricate multi-stitch projects, and this was a good one. It has the arrow stitch, which I've never done before. So you see like the little, it's hard to make them out, but it's got the little, they come to a point here. You make little arrows, and then they have just your general like Celtic weave cable, and back to the arrow. It just repeats that motif a few times. And then the border, I think if I recall, it's like a double crochet, chain 3 single crochet in the same stitch, I think. But it worked out nice. Like, it definitely was a good challenge. Just learning some new stitches. I love the way the colors worked out. And so my plan was, because these blankets are going to a set of twins that was just born, my plan was I was going to either do the same blanket in a different yarn so that they're the same but not the same, or I was going to do a different, it's like similar kind of blanket but not the same exact blanket in the same yarn. And originally that was my plan, so I decided to go with the same yarn because I had 3 Caron Skinny Cakes that I used to make this. This is Caron Skinny Cakes in the color of Spumani. I bought 3 of those on clearance for $5. This first blanket took 1.5, so I was like, okay, the second blanket, a little more than 1.5, or a little less than 1.5. No, I had to have a 4. I think I had 4. Yeah, I had 4. The first blanket took about 1.5. I figured the second blanket was gonna take about that much, maybe a little more, depending. So I sorry, my brain. So yeah, that was my plan. I decided to use the same yarn and do a different blanket. Originally, and I showed you guys this, I started what was called the Rainbow Baby Blanket, which is also from Bonnie Bay Crochet. And I really liked it. It had it had the arrow stitch, the same arrow stitch. It had this other cable that was like kind of little curly, like interlocking curls. It had what's called a woven stitch, which I've never done before. It had the Celtic weave. Is that it? I can't remember. I think that was it. So working this, and I'm noticing as I'm going through that when I finish a motif, like the stitch count will be slightly off sometimes, and I was able to like kind of get it back on track. And then I finished out the whole, like the repeats the way that she does it in the tutorial. Like she actually does no even motifs. It's just like repeats. I mean, it's just like a series of different motifs. And when I finished it out, it was still very small, like 29 inches, maybe less. I don't remember. It's quite small. And it was a little bit bunchy, slightly, but I was like, I think it's okay. And when I finished it, I know the stitch count was fine. But I wanted to keep going, so I kind of started over the motifs again. So, and I'm getting through, and I'm getting to a point where it's like gotten pretty big, and I put it down, and I'm looking at it, and I know it's like, I'm like, this is not, something's off, like it's bunching here, or it's like, it's bunching up here, or like if I laid it down flat, and it was definitely like skewed, like it was just off. And so I counted my stitches, and it was so off, like between the shortest side and the longest side, it was like a 15 stitch count, and they were all different. Like, you know, I can't remember how many, but let's say this is just a random number. Let's say the shorter side had like 40 stitches, and then like the next side maybe had like 45, and then the next might have had 50, and the next might have had 55. Like it was that, like it was just so different. And it was, you could see if I laid it down flat, like it was like skewed, you know. And I was like, there's no way to salvage this, you know. And so I was like, I can go back, I can go like rip it out back to like kind of where I knew it was good and do it again, or I can just do something different. I decided to do something different just because it wasn't even as much fun to make, even though like I just didn't enjoy it as much. It took me forever. Like this one, I was finished like probably with most of it in under a week, whereas that one is just taking like so long, and it's not as much fun to make or anything. So I was like, I'm gonna find something else. So what I settled on was Jonna Martinez's Grandma's German Shells blanket, which is not really made as a baby blanket. One is made with her way she does it. She makes it with 4-weight yarn, and I don't think it's like it's more meant to be an Afghan. This is a 3-weight yarn, but I liked it, and so I decided to go for it. It's a virus pattern, which I've never done before. Isn't it pretty? I love it. I wasn't actually too sure about it at the beginning, only because I feel like, especially at the beginning, it's just very different from the other blanket. And I felt like it was like almost too different to be a sibling set, especially like a twin set. Like I didn't want them to be exactly the same, but I wanted them to be kind of like the same idea, which they're not. This is definitely more of a mandala style, very intricate. This is much more of a simple, like repeating two relatively simple motifs. But I think the yarn does, so at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna use this. It's like, maybe I'll finish it, I won't like it, and I'll just find another yarn and do this blanket again and another yarn. But as I went on, I just fell in love with it. I actually think I like this one better. So one, I think it shows off the colors better, especially here in the middle. Like you get through like a full set of shells and a full, like, so what you do is like the German shells, which it looks like it's the same thing pretty much as the virus. It's a virus stitch. So you do, well, you start off just with the center, and then you do like the shells here for a couple of, it's not rows, but like a couple of repeats of the shell, and then you go into a granny square, and then you do it again here, do the same thing here. Sorry, my throat is getting dry. I might pause and grab some water. You do 2 repeats of the shells again, 6 rows of the granny, and then the way she ended it was with 3 repeats of the shells. I ended it at 2 because we were getting right at about 36 inches. I probably could have done the third because it's a little bit smaller still than this one, but that's okay. I still really like it. So let me see, I'll back up a little bit so you can get a full picture. So anyway, I think it shows off the color more because it's just like less busy stitches and more just kind of simple stitches. It's less crisscrosses and this and that, so every color has kind of time to marinate and do its thing. And then it's a little bit not softer, but the drape is a little bit better because it's looser stitches. This one's still drapey, it's fine, but this one's like this, it's a little bit thicker feeling, which is fine, which is good too. This one's, the drape is a little bit better. I obviously, like for baby blankets, I prefer not to have all these holes, but it's okay. I think this is all right. So yeah, I really like it. I'm glad I did it. And then it ends up with this picot border here. So it's good when you do it. So this doesn't actually lay, especially when before I wash. So I just pulled these out of the washer, but as I'm making it, like because of the way that you do the virus stuff, and especially the way like you kind of pull them together, because you go from like chain 3 spaces to 2 to 1, and it pulls it together, and so it doesn't actually lay. I think you can see it when I hold it up. It doesn't actually sit 100% flat. Like, can you see that? Like right here, like at the tips of the viruses, like it kind of bunches up, and after I wash it, it lays way better. So I think I think when you lay it down on the bed now, it wouldn't be noticeable, whereas like it was slightly noticeable that it is a little bit wavy before I washed it, but the stitches relaxed a lot. It's just really pretty. I love it. So I'm really glad I did it. I'm gonna send this one off. I think they are gonna look beautiful together. The babies that I'm sending it to, they just turned a month old. My friend, they're her grandchildren, which is crazy. So I think I mentioned this before, like her daughter, who just had these twins, was born the same week I went off to college, which in my brain was like a couple of years ago. Like, it's insane. She's married with kids now, but yeah, she was born in 99, so it's at 25. She'll be 25 in a few weeks, and it's insane. Fold these up. So these I'm gonna send off. I actually just reached out to her tonight for her address. My friend, I was like, I got a little present for you guys for being grandparents. So I'm like, I'm gonna just tell them like, hey, if you want to keep them at your house for when your granddaughters visit, or if you want to pass them on to the parents, that's all you. So yeah, my blanket adventure for this spring is over, I thought. It turns out I'm doing one more because, so there's one other couple that I know that we go to church with them that I don't remember if I knew they were pregnant. I think I noticed that she was pregnant, but they're a really quiet couple. They're very quiet. They don't talk much. I remember noticing they were pregnant, but they didn't say anything about it. So like I didn't ask because I've made that mistake before, just one time, and that's all I needed. And so I didn't ask. I think I like just forgot about it. But they actually had their baby, I think the week I was out of town, and she's like 6 months, or not 6, they had her at around 6 months, so she's very early. And I don't know if she's still in the NICU. I know the last time I heard, which was about 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, like she was already breathing on her own and like doing really well, which is amazing for a baby born that early. It's really crazy. The first time I remember, like 20 plus years ago, I had to be like early 2000s, so going on 25 years ago, the first time I ever heard of a baby being born, like super very like whatever, what do they call it, a micro preemie, was some friends of mine. They had their baby at 6 months, and she was like, I remember she was so small, her dad could take off his wedding ring and put it all the way up her arm. She was so small, and she was in a NICU for months, like 6 months, maybe more, you know. Like it was such a different time back then. Just back then, I remember that was like a miracle that she survived. And she had a lot of challenging health outcomes as a result. You know, I know she was on like a lot of medication for a long time, and like I don't remember that she, you know, just a lot of stuff. And I, you know, she's alive today, but she's had like a lot of like physical and developmental delays, etc. So like now though, I know so many kids, not so many, but I know of like a lot of kids that were born as micro preemies now that like you know, a few years down the line, you'd never know, or even like months down the line, it's so different. Like just the outcomes are so different. Like the interventions are so different now. Like it's awesome. Like just the way that medicine has progressed to where it's like not much less a dire situation. But anyway, I'm not sure if she's still in the NICU, but I was like, well, I gotta make her a blanket. I made everyone a blanket, and she's the only girl. These twins, they live in another city, like here, that live here in Atlanta. Like of my friends, she's the only girl. So 4 boys and 1 girl. And then my friend up in Philly, they had a boy too. So, yeah, she's the only girl born. So I was at Joann's. If you guys know, Joann's has been having a lot of sales and a lot of clearance. And so I bought a couple of these. I thought this would make a really pretty blanket. I bought 2 of these, and it actually was there yesterday or the day before, and I bought one more just as a little safety. But I didn't want to do like just your regular. I just thought this was pretty. Like it's not exactly your basic, your like normal like light pastel baby blanket colors, because they had another pink that kind of went to white, I think, or went to something else. I don't remember what it went to, but I was like, no, let's do something a little different. So I mean, it's kind of like looking at different patterns of what to do with it. I kind of went with something a little bit unorthodox, and I actually don't know if I love it yet, but I'm gonna keep it going. And it's a interlocking shells. I don't know what the right side of this is supposed to be. It probably doesn't matter because of the nature of this yarn. You can't even really see the stitches that well, but it's like interlocking shells. And what I'm doing is I'm using 2 different ones. So I'm going from the inside of this one and the outside of this one, with the idea being that it's gonna like they're gonna phase into each other. So in the middle, they'll be the same color, and then like the orange is gonna start phasing to the magenta, it's mango, I think, and then mango and the magenta gonna start fading to mango. And so that's kind of the idea. I like it. This is definitely not the yarn to show off like the interlockingness of the shell stitches, obviously, but that's okay. You know, I just wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do I didn't want to do like another radiating outward pattern. I've done almost everything. I've done a lot of those, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different. And so that's what I did. And I kind of just want to try something different. So that's what we're going to try. I don't know if I love it yet, but we're going to keep going. And then if it just doesn't work out, I have tons of other yarn. It's, you know, like if it just doesn't work out, I have tons of other yarn. I have lots and lots of baby yarn. I can do something different, but we're gonna try it. Only thing I don't love is that like the hairs that make it soft, like resembling a latte cake, are white. And so it almost like, it makes it look like, I remember I was doing that, I was working on that other thing I did. What was it? I did the cocoon cardigan that I made with the same yarn in a different color. I remember I was working on it at church. And my friend that, this one young girl I know that crochets, like, she's always like, what are you doing? And she's looking, and she's like, oh, she did not. She was like, it makes it, she was like, that yarn, the white parts, it makes it look like it makes it look like it fuzzed up. Like when you wash something, like and it just like fuzzes up on you. That's what it looks like. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does look like that because it's like a different color. So I don't know. We'll see when the blanket is done if it kind of, I guess if it looks, because she was like, she's like, I don't know, if I made that, I would feel like if someone saw it, that they would, like, I'd be worried that they thought it was just like kind of ratty old thing. I don't know. Which is, it doesn't look like, and it's going to be so soft. But we'll just see if I feel like it should go to a baby when it's done, or if I should just charge it to the game. But yeah, that's what we're working on. On top of that, because I just felt like I haven't in a while. What did I just drop? Oh. I was just sitting here at work. Was it today or yesterday? It was yesterday. Sitting here at work, I got like some, just my regular 4-weight yarn sitting here. It's actually in a drawer on this little desk. Instead of like paperwork or anything, I just got some yarn in a drawer, loose. It's what I was doing like when my bot had a palooza. I would just like, it's just whatever I pulled out of stash. But I hadn't made hats in a long time, so I decided to just make a hat. So I started with this hat here. This is Red Heart Super Saver in Cherry Red, and this is Michael's. What is Michael's one? Craft Smart. This is old. I bought this before they changed it, so it's still officially Craft Smart in dark gray, I think. I don't remember. So I did this one, and then I just kind of switched it up and did this one. Both of them have the crab stitch border. This one I think is 16 rows, and this is 17, or this one is 17 and this is 18. I don't remember. I think it's 17 because I think it fits me. If I do 16, it's still a little bit small, but it's even smaller than this on me. And then this one is a little bit bigger. These are just gonna go to my donations. I gotta start working on those again. I still have a bunch, and I found a place the next town over from me, which is they do, like, they take donations, like, and then they kind of run a store for foster families, but I think they get to just go in and get stuff for free. They take, so I'm gonna donate them there, because even when I started making hats and stuff, like, I originally was gonna I wanted to donate it to foster kids anyway. I donated that first batch to my son's school, just because I know there's a lot of like low income people at the school. But this batch I'm gonna donate to foster care. So just add those to the pile. They're already washed. I'm gonna throw them in the bin, and that's what I got going on. I brought in, I should bring it. I'll show you guys next time, because I want to get this started this week. I'm gonna work on this blanket, but I'm also gonna work on, I'm definitely gonna start this week my dress that I wanted to do based on I don't remember the name of this dress that Bag O Day did, but I'm gonna start it this week, because I just like, I mean, every time I always find something else like to do to put off doing it, and I'm like, let me just start it. And then I'm also gonna, I'm gonna do something I haven't done before. Like, I want to do something new, so I'm gonna do one of 3 things. I might put a poll out. If I put a poll out, will you guys answer it? I'm gonna put a poll out. I don't know how much people see like my posts that I put up, you know, because like my videos even don't get a ton of traffic, so I'm sure my posts get even less. But I'm either gonna do an amigurumi. Is that the word? Amigurumi? Is it It's amigurumi. It's not anigurumi. That doesn't sound right. But animal. That's why it makes more sense to me, and I always want to say it that way, like ane, but it's or like animated, but I guess it's amigo. I'm gonna do a little stuffy thing. I'm gonna do that. Well, I am gonna do these, but I don't know which I'm gonna do first. I'm gonna do that. I'm going to do like a market bag, like a really good, like a nice market bag. I've never done that before. I've done like the little bag project I did. I guess I've done, we'll say I haven't. I did those little Japanese knot bags with the Karen, what was that? Roving wool one. I don't remember what it was called. Something twist cakes, something like that. I don't remember the name of it. But I remember I did those. They're like a Marley bird pattern. But they were like small. They're not market bags. I want to do market bag. A market bag. I want to do that. Or what was the third thing? Like a cardigan, but one or some kind of wearable with like shaping. Not something where you just make a rectangle or a square and you just sew it together a certain, or like seam it up a certain way. Like I want to do something that takes a little bit of forethought and shaping. So I'm going to do one of those three things next. I'm going to do those three things, but I don't know which one I'm going to do first. It might be that, I don't know which I'm going to do first. Probably not the bag. It's either going to be like the wearable or the stuffy thing. I don't know which, but that's coming up. I don't know if I'll have those started this week, but I'm going to start the dress because I really want to start the dress, and I'm really excited about the yarn I found for the dress, and I want to see how it works out because it's like the Eddie Bauer yarn. So Eddie Bauer yarn they got a cotton, they got an acrylic, and then they got this like merino alpaca blend. That's what I got, the merino alpaca blend, because they have like this light blue, almost Tiffany blue. And the dress that they did was in like a Tiffany blue, and I love Tiffany blue. It's one of my favorite, like blue's my favorite color, and that probably, I don't know if it's my favorite blue, but it might be my favorite. Right now, it's probably my favorite blue. And so I really want to do it. I found it in a Tiffany blue, and I really want to make it. It was on, I got them on sale, I think. And then this week I went back, they had an even better sale, so I got some more, but not that color, because I cleaned out that color last week. I got some more. So that might be what I make my other wearable out of. Because I really like it. I like the colors, the Eddie Bauer colors. I really like, because they're very like classic colors. Like, what is it? Is it, you ever seen like polo ads, like polo, Ralph Lauren polo ads that like are like show like a bunch of beautiful people like in a yacht club or at a polo club or something? They're just like beautiful young people out in the Hamptons or something, and the colors of like their outfits are like, it's like the really nice, that deep navy and the good red and like crisp white and other very like crisp colors, I guess, well saturated. That's how the Eddie Bauer yarns I feel like are for a lot of their stuff. It's just this like, I don't know what the term is, like just classic colors, you know, and solids, and I just like them. I like them a lot. For like, you know, usually if I see like a brand that goes into yarn, it's kind of gimmicky and dumb. Like the Juicy Couture yarn, not that interested in. The Tom Daly yarn, it's so expensive for what? I don't even know. What else? There's a few others that I can't recall, but these ones I actually really like. I feel like some actual thought went into them, as opposed to like just slapping like the Eddie Bauer name on some other yarn that's already out there, you know. So that's why I really like it. So I'm excited to see, like, to work it up, and hopefully it works up, and like I think it's gonna be beautiful. I hope it's gonna be beautiful. So I'm excited to start that. And then yeah, I also bought some other stuff at Joann, because they had like doorbusters and the clearance, which is not like, I already got everything I wanted out of the clearance for the most part. But I got some other stuff that I wouldn't usually have bought. What did I get? I got the Lucky Brand. Lucky Brand also is not bad. I got the Lucky Brand bamboo. in this like gold color, kind of like, it's kind of like this, like a gold, that I think I want to make a shirt of some kind out of. And I got I saw, and I didn't know this was a thing. I happened to see it. The KNC has that merino wool. I'd never seen that. And it was like so soft, but it was so expensive. Like they had the smaller ones for like $7.99, and the bigger ones were they $12.99 and $14.99. They were so expensive. But I grabbed one because I had a 40% off one regular price item coupon, and so I did grab one just to play with it. That was also gold. They had really great colors. It is so soft. But hopefully they clearance those out. When they clearance those out, I'm gonna clean those up if it's a decent clearance, because you know Joann's clearance be like 50 cents off. But if I can get them for like a decent price at some point, I might get those. They were so soft. I'm gonna make a hat out of the one I got, probably like a knitted hat, and tell you how I feel about it, because it was like really, it was like superwash merino. It was it was really soft. It's really soft. I'm not usually like, oh, I gotta have merino wool, I gotta have natural fibers. I'm not usually that type. Like I'll acrylic it up, you know. But I like those. And I was gonna try to get I was gonna try to get one of their hand dyed ones with my 40% off, but they didn't have anything I liked. Like I didn't want to feel like the cotton, because I actually have a bunch of the cotton. I haven't touched it yet. I found those on clearance, so I know these ones are gonna go on clearance, you know. And then I was like, I'll get the merino one, but like I don't like the way they did the merino this year. It's like if you have the hank, it's like most of the hank is like kind of one set of colors, and then the bottom of it is like, let's say the top is like, I'm trying to think of one. It'll be like the top is like white, and then the bottom part is just like this bright neon pink and black or something. It's just like, I'm sure it is pretty or whatever, but I don't know, none of them really spoke to me. And then I only wanted to buy one because I had just the 140% off coupon. And so I don't know what I would do with just one. So I'll wait until they clearance those out too. I think they just do that at the end of every season because they bring out new ones the next year. So once they do that, I will maybe pick some up depending on how cheap they are. But anyway, that is it. Thank you guys for listening to my babbling on, as you usually do. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I have a lot. I guess, you know, next time I come on, I'm gonna like reintroduce myself, I guess, or just kind of tell you guys a little bit about myself again, just because I haven't in a long time. And no one should ever go back to my early videos and listen to that. It's not pretty. Growing pains, like it's still not pretty, but it's way prettier than it was a year and a half ago. So I won't subject anyone to that, but I will kind of like go over my story next time, just for the sake of some of you newer people. All right, anyway, let me get out of here. I love you guys. Thank you everyone for listening. Please like and comment and subscribe, or all of that stuff if you so please. If not, happy trails. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye.